Different type of Super Bowl champion. The championship came in Doug's second year. Right?
Yeah.
Usually you have the make the playoff, 5-11 or 6-10, and you go to 9-7. You compete for a playoff. You make the playoffs. You go to the championship game. You can get.
All right, as you see, it's Wednesday. Thursday. Not Thursday. I'm tripping. And this right here is going to be my prediction for the Eagles' upcoming game. Philadelphia Eagles versus the LA Rams. It's going to happen here in Philly, though that may or may not even matter because there's no crowd. They still acting like the Ubaka is killing people, right? So, which has harmed less than 1% of the population, but they feel like they're going to shut everything down because of that. Whatever, I don't make the rules. I think that shit is dumb, but, whatever. At any rate, looking at this Rams game, this Rams matchup, you have to X out the home field advantage. Though the Rams are going to have to fly over here, that may affect them a little bit. We look at the matchup here. On paper, the Rams don't scare me, right? Their quarterback has the potential to play very well, and he also has the potential to be horrible, depending on what defensive coordinator he faces. If, like, Schwartz, the Eagles defensive coordinator, can make him look the way Belichick made him look, then Goff could be a complete bum. Or he could be sharp as a knife out there. Personally, I'm not really worried about him being that sharp. You look at his running back, or look at his quarterbacks, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. These guys don't really scare me. His running back, Brown, I believe his name is. Who is he? You know what I mean? He's a guy that's going to have to prove that he's somebody to fear. So, but McVay is a smart play designer, and he knows how to be aggressive, when to tail it back. Like, I respect McVay. However, McVay is a little bit overrated. They've been saying he's better than Doug Peterson for the longest, though there's no evidence to suggest this. They've been saying he's one of the top, bright minds, and he might be some of that stuff, but, they've been bumping him up a little bit too much. So, quarterback matchup, I got to go with Doug again because Doug has beaten this guy 2 out of 2. And, until McVay wins one, I got to go with Doug, giving Doug the edge, the quarterback, in that department. Now, as far as our two quarterbacks, Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, I don't do quarterbacks versus quarterbacks because it's about the quarterbacks versus the defense. So when I look at, we'll start with Jared Goff versus our defense. I guess their number one receiver is Cooper Kupp, I guess. Robert Woods, to me, talent-wise, I think they're pretty similar. Neither one really scares me a whole lot. They won't have Brandon Cooks available. So, right, if Brandon Cooks was playing, I think we would probably throw Darius Slay on him. I don't even know if they're going to have Darius Slay travel this week because I don't know that the Rams have this one receiver that we fear. So, if he was to travel, I guess it would be with Cooper Kupp. But I'm assuming, like, Schwartz may not do that. So, I like our matchup against their receivers, man for man. Nickel Robbie Coleman, our slot receiver, he played pretty well last week as well. I didn't see the Redskins slot receiver really killing us. So, we'll see how that goes there. But I like our secondary versus their receivers. Our defensive line versus their offensive line. Be very interesting. The Ram offensive line did a pretty solid job against the Cowboys. Dallas, I don't know if Dallas's defensive line is better than our defensive line. Dallas, I think, has the advantage with the edge rushers, Everson Griffith and guys like that. Alden Smith played very well, right? But when we talk about the defensive tackles, they were missing Gerald McCoy. So I think the Eagles will, with Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson, will give the Rams interior defensive line more of a challenge than Dallas did. So I actually like that from that standpoint. The problem I have with our defense is two things. Number one, our linebackers are unknown, though I don't think they played poorly really last week necessarily. Our problem is one thing, and it is the philosophy of one Jim Schwartz on defense. Honestly, I feel like you could lose any game with Jim Schwartz. Like any game you could lose possibly if Jim Schwartz goes in there being ultra conservative and ultra scared. I think he plays a punk-ass defense. Jim Schwartz, what he did last week in the game was played okay. I mean, the defense played okay in the beginning because he had Slay following McLaurin, I think, which was a very effective strategy. However, what happened was when Carson Wentz, who I do blame for the game, threw those picks, in particular that first pick, what Jim Schwartz did was he went into playing prevent defense as opposed to playing the normal coverage defense that he plays. Right? What I would have liked to have seen him do was pressure Haskins through the usage of the blitz. Schwartz didn't even blitz 10 times, or I don't even think he blitzed 5 times last game. I mean, this motherfucker act like he is afraid to blitz players. Now, blitzing, I understand it can bite you in the ass if you run into a quarterback that's able to recognize it and find his hot read quickly. And in particular, if he has dangerous receivers. That was not the situation last week. You had a good matchup with Slay versus McLaurin, okay? And then the other guy that they had, Maddox, was doing a pretty decent job on him. So I saw no reason to believe like your corners would get destroyed in the event that you blitz. Okay, don't blitz your cornerbacks. Our running backs should have been blitzed more, coming up the middle. Like, why is Jim Schwartz so insistent on rushing 4? Of course, everybody knows in the ideal situation, you have a front 4 that just dominates and you never have to blitz. Okay, but let's be for real. These lines are too good. These players are too big to just dominate somebody like that, like a Gang Green defense or like the Steel Curtain defense or something like that at the line. It just doesn't happen that often. All right, so you got to incorporate some blitzes, especially when you're playing against a damn quarterback like Dwayne Haskins. What is it about Dwayne Haskins that's got Jim Schwartz afraid to blitz? You think he's Peyton Manning standing back there just reading what you're doing and just tearing you up? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I'm sitting there watching Carson Wentz get you had the regular defensive line and also getting blitzed by Washington. Washington, just think about that. Washington had the advantage with their defensive line and with my offensive line, and they were still blitzing. While I'm sitting here watching, Dwayne Haskins had this clean pocket because our defensive coordinator refused to fucking blitz. I don't understand it, right? So I think there's always a chance you can get destroyed, right? So if Jim Schwartz goes in there and he goes with the strategy where he is playing our cornerbacks 10 and 15 yards off of the Rams receivers, it's not going to matter how good or bad our corners are. Darius Slay, you'll never get to see the greatness of Darius Slay if he's 15 fucking yards off of the receiver. You'll never get to see if Maddox can stick if he's 10, 15 yards off the freaking receiver. It won't matter, right? He's going to have a clean pocket because you only, think about it, you only rush your 4 down linemen. That's all he's rushing. And then you're playing 10, 15 yards off the receiver. So the quarterback is not being rushed into his passes, and the receivers have all day to get open because you refuse to blitz. You got linebackers just sitting there holding their penises, and then you got receivers just like having 5-yard outs there all day, 8 yards there all day because you won't play up. I can't stand his fucking defense, right? So I believe that it's possible you could really lose to them because of Jim Schwartz. Now on to my actual prediction. In this particular game, I don't really feel really good about us beating them. Well, let me say this. What I did see from the reports is that Miles Sanders and Lane Johnson are expected to play. All right. So for those reasons, the Eagles should have a better, much better ground game. Much better ground game. And that's the main thing you want to do to neutralize Aaron Donald. Now, the problem is we don't have Brandon Brooks to deal with Aaron Donald. In the past, Aaron Donald has only had a little bit of success against us. He was never able to dominate the games because we had the best guard in the league, Brandon Brooks. Brandon Brooks is down. So we're going to have to see. There's going to have to be a combination of Kelsey and whoever we have there. I don't think Aaron Donald faces Seumalo. He faces our weakness, our weak guy. Pryor, I believe, is going to be there. So we'll see how that goes. Lane is going to have to step over and help a little bit over there. Or Kelsey's going to have to help a lot. I expect Aaron Donald to be doubled a lot if Doug is smart. All right. So, but there's a couple of reasons why I'm picking the Eagles in this game. And it's not a whole lot of confidence over, our team and talent-wise. No, it's that we down 0-1, and the Rams won last week. So I'm expecting the team to go in with a greater sense of focus. Whereas the Rams may want to beat us because of revenge. However, I think desperation from not wanting to go 0-2 will be a greater motivating factor for the Eagles than the revenge that the Rams may have against the Eagles for beating them the last 2 times. If you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game by a score of 21-14. All right. And that is my prediction. Philadelphia Eagles, or out of the desperate Eagles, will beat the Rams, who are just still kind of riding high of success. And it will be by the score of 21-14. And I also meant to mention our Eagles offense versus their defense. I think will be fine. I think Deshaun Jackson will be a tough matchup for Jalen Ramsey if they go with that route with him there. And then I think our rookie Jalen Reagor will have a good job. Should do a good job. And I don't see how the Rams will stop our tight ends. All right. So with that, I'll see you guys on Sunday 4 or 5-ish with my review, of the game. All right. Peace.